Toot hoot! As you can see, I'm feeling very blue today. Hello, everybody. I am Brother Dwayne, and I am doing well. I can't complain. I might complain, but who would listen? Maybe God, right? And just because we complain doesn't mean we're still going to get what we want, right? But what I want right now, and you're going to help me by watching, is we're going to do the Tozer Devotional on October the 7th. So happy to be going through these devotionals at the speed I'm going through them. And you guys know I'm getting anxious to get into those other devotionals to share them with you. I like different perspectives. You know, I don't just want to read one author. I mean, my goodness, the Bible isn't even one author except the Holy Ghost. God is the author, but the different personalities, the writing styles of all the several authors, I forget the exact number of authors for the Bible, but it was pretty neat how God used them. Paul's writings, you can tell, are very similar. That's why I believe Hebrews was also him. Could be wrong. The Bible doesn't say that was Paul. Don't know why. But I like to read different authors, different devotional books to get different perspectives. And in case you didn't know, if I don't agree with what the author says, I will point it out on the video because, once again, I am responsible for the material that goes out onto the airwaves, so to speak, out into the internet, for which they are out there forever. Can't bring them back in, can't get rid of them. They're recorded and kept somewhere. Who knows? So, I'm always trying to make sure that you guys get the truth, the true doctrine. As I said, this is October the 7th, and this one is called A Switch in Pleasure Source. Some of these titles, I got nothing. No idea what they're about. Revelation 12:11, a good verse that I can actually quote. And they overcame him, which means Satan, by the blood of the Lamb, and they loved not their lives unto the death. I don't know why they didn't quote the whole verse, but let's take a look. I am not pre-prepared. Last book of the Bible, Revelation. It's not Revelations. It's the book of Revelation. My beanie's all crooked. All right, alrighty. Let's go. Chapter 12 is so short, let's read the whole thing. A great sign, verse 1, the woman and the dragon, Revelation 12:1. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head was a crown of 12 stars. She was with child and cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven. There was a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 diadems on his head. On his heads, excuse me. I knew something wasn't quite right there. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven. Now, to me, that sounds like Satan taking a third of the angels with him, right? I'm not good with Revelation. That's why I don't preach or teach it, except the stuff that I know. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. Satan, his rebellion, taking a third of the angels. And angels can still fall today, by the way. The dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as he was born. She gave birth to a male child, who was to rule all nations with an iron scepter. Now, I would assume that was Mary giving birth, because Satan was already killing. Right after, Satan used Herod to kill the babies, right? Ages 2 and under. And kind of like with Moses before he was born, Satan had the Pharaoh killing babies, so God couldn't have any male born to be an authority figure. Very similar, but the timing was a little different. The babies in Jesus' day weren't killed until after his birth. But still, let's go on. The dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as he was born. She gave birth to a male child who was to rule all nations with an iron scepter, and her child was caught up to God and to his throne. The woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, that they may nourish her there for 1,260 days. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, but they did not prevail, which means Satan lost because he's a loser. Nor was there a place for them in heaven any longer. The great dragon was cast out, an ancient serpent called the devil and Satan, same person, Lucifer, same individual, who deceives the whole world. He was cast down to the earth, and his angels were cast down with him. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, "Now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come. For the accuser of our brothers, who accused them before our God day and night, has been cast down." Satan is the accuser of the brethren. Here it is, verse 11. "They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you in great wrath, because he knows that his time is short." And that's where we get that quote, people saying it all the time, Satan is busy having no rest because he knows that his time is short. And Satan doesn't rest, ever. "When the dragon saw that he was cast down to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. The woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is to be nourished for a time, and times and a half a time, from the presence of the serpent." And like I said, I'm not good at all this. I could have been wrong with what I said earlier. I'm just giving you things that come to mind as I read it. "Then the serpent spewed water out of his mouth like a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. But the earth helped the woman. The earth opened its mouth and swallowed the flood with which the dragon spewed out his mouth. Then the dragon was angry with the woman, and he went to wage war with the remnant of her offspring, who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ." Now you know why I don't preach and teach on it, because I don't have all my facts straight. I just haven't really looked into it. Maybe one day. A switch in pleasure source. Tozer says, "The way faith works in experience is something like this. The believing man is overwhelmed suddenly by a powerful feeling that only God matters. Soon this works itself out into his mental life and conditions all his judgments and all his values. Now he finds himself free from slavery to man's opinions. Soon he learns to love above all else the assurance that he is well-pleasing to the Father in heaven." That's a very satisfying feeling, by the way, to know you're pleasing to God. "It is this complete switch in their pleasure source that has made believing men invincible. So could saints and martyrs stand alone, deserted by every earthly friend, and die for Christ under the universal displeasure of mankind? The gospel has power to deliver men from the tyranny of social approval and make them free to do the will of God." At the bottom it says, "Nothing is too dear to give to Christ, nothing too great to be cheerfully sacrificed to the promotion of his glory. Such is the disposition of good men, that they place their happiness in the glory of God and the prosperity of his kingdom." Now you could probably take several things from this particular one, but one thing that I am reminded for sure, never mind my fidgeting, this looks funny. One thing I know for sure is that in this end time hour, we as followers of Christ, we are going to need to be ready to give up our lives. Nothing should ever matter in this life so much as to stop us from missing heaven. Nothing here is worth it, because everything here on this earth, except for God's Spirit dwelling in us, everything else in this life, in this world, is temporal. It's not going to last. God is going to last, heaven is going to last, and hell and the lake of fire are going to last, and I don't want to be there, and I hope that you wouldn't want to be there either. Think about it. Get to a spiritual place where you're ready to give up everything for your faith, even your own life. I've been that way for years, and I'm always going to be that way. God bless you guys. Hope you have a good day. I'll see you in the next Tozer Devotional.